Hey, what's up, guys? We're back. This is PB and J. I'm here with Brian. Brian, what's going on, dude?
Hey, how's it going? Man, we've pretty much spent the entire afternoon trying to get some reservations for D23, right?
Yeah, that didn't work out well at all.
Yeah, just really quick. So what happened was there's a reservation time to go into the panels and to shop or meet talents like the actors or whoever for whatever Disney's doing. And there's a reservation time on Friday at noon. So we all, we show up and we get on our browsers and apps and try to sign up, and then, it crashed right away, right?
Yeah,
And we, and
immediately.
then we get a message that says come back at 1, and then we try again at 1, and then it says come back tomorrow at noon. So yeah,
Yeah, it sucked. It kind of it killed a few hours because, like, we got on a little early, just to make sure, right? I was
right.
on at 11:30 just to make sure, and then it takes about 10-15 minutes to send that message out saying, oh, our site's down, try again at 1. So then, okay, so I'll just sit here. I got something to eat and then just sit here for another hour. And then same thing happens again. Site goes down. And then you wait another 10-15 minutes and it's like, oh, come back tomorrow. So I was like, it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours just sitting here. Um, and, for those of you who don't know, D23 is next weekend, August 23rd, 24th, and 25th at the Anaheim Convention Center. Today they told us earlier in the week that today we can log in and reserve our spots for the big hall, the hall D23, right? Like kind of like the Comic Con, like the Hall H is the big panel where they're gonna go over all the movies, as the Disney movies, Star Wars movies, Marvel movies, and instead of having to wait in line and camp out, we can just reserve our spot and we can just show up, which sounds great, right? It sounds in practice that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, but I personally am against this like online reservation thing, mainly because I have really bad luck when it comes to this. Um, it sounds crazy, but I'd rather wait in line on the day before, and at least you have an idea of how long the lines are going to be, and it's not up to chance, and there's no randomness by going on online and just hammering away on the site until you get in.
Yeah, yeah. We were discussing this earlier, and kind of it's like we're saying it's like putting the work in, right? You want to get into that Hall H, then you gotta go stand in line, and
Right.
you have to sacrifice a lot of stuff on Friday. What you want stuff you want to see, you gotta sacrifice all that time, and when you get in, it makes it worth it, right? When you're in there and you see everything, you're like, man, it was worth. It makes everything better, I think,
Right.
because
Well,
you're not.
even when we walk in, everyone's excited, right? Like because
Yeah,
you put in
yeah.
all that effort to go in. Like for this, I'm guessing people will just show up like an hour before, like they're supposed to, and just walk in like, oh, it's whatever, we just got it online. So the reward is not there. So
Right,
that's
right.
part of the fun, right, of going to these cons. So
Yeah, yeah. I know when at Comic Con when we're in the shoot to go into Hall H and everyone's fidgeting, right? Everyone's
right.
anxious and they're fidgeting like, are they gonna let us in? You think they'll let us in? When are they letting us in? And then they let in the shoot and everyone starts cheering,
Yeah.
and even the volunteers working are high fiving everybody,
Yeah.
and they're going, "You congrats, you made it!" And everyone's screaming as they go in. It's fun. Wait, like then you're right. If we just got our reservation and showed up next week, we come walking up with a coffee and a donut. Hey,
Right.
where's the line at? Oh, it's right here. Oh, whatever, because you got your spot, so you don't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that does make a big difference. It's not so much of an event as if just stand as like Comic Con being out there. You're out there in line all day, and everyone in the whole line's nervous if they're gonna get a wristband, if they're gonna get in or not.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and you meet some friends too in line. You just talk to random people around you, and it's pretty fun. So, I mean, there's good and bad for both of these, right? So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, the good obviously is that you know way ahead of time if you're getting in or not,
right,
and you can plan your whole day, you can plan your whole Saturday. You're not out there in the sun and stuff. Whereas with and if you and if you do know you're in, you're cool. So it's good and bad. There's good and bad. This eliminates lines, but at the same time, you like you said, you're leaving everything to chance. What if I got in and you didn't?
right.
So it's like, okay, now our group isn't together, and only some of us can enjoy it. So that's that kind of sucks too. Whereas at Comic Con, either you're all going or no one's going.
Well, in my case, I might get in. So
Yeah, yeah. Group? What group? I've been here by myself the whole time.
yeah, I'm there by myself.
So we'll see what happens tomorrow. 12 o'clock. The last message told us Saturday at noon. Try again. So we'll be back on at noon tomorrow. I'll be on a little early again just to wait and see what happens and see if we get in. And we'll update you guys, all the listeners out there, after D23. See the kind of stuff we get to see, and hopefully we do get into the big hall so that we can report on the big movies coming out. For sure, they're gonna go over Star Wars, right?
Yep.
They'll probably go over the Marvel stuff a little bit. I know the Comic-Con was the big reveal, I guess is the right word for it. They went over everything, all the shows, all the movies, the actors came out. I don't know if they'll do that for this one.
I think they will. I also think they might have a clip to show too. That's new from Comic-Con.
A new footage, something with new footage. I do know the big difference is that at Comic-Con it was a 90-minute just for Marvel, whereas here they got to cram it into the 2 hours.
Right. It's very quick. Yeah. There's no one like standing there taking questions. I mean, there might be like a question or two, but it's mainly just for Disney to show their entire lineup for the next year or 2 years, since D23 is a expo every other year.
Yeah, it's biannual, so they'll go over the big Disney releases. What's the big remake coming?
Lady and the Tramp.
Lady and the Tramp. Yeah, Lady and the Tramp is coming.
Yep.
They'll probably go over that, and Little Mermaid, right?
Yeah.
And there's one more, Mulan.
Oh, right. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, so I think those are all in the casting stages right now. So there's a ways to go for those ones. Except Lady and the Tramp, I think they might have just dropped the trailer. So they'll probably show footage of Lady and the Tramp. But yeah, all those big movies are crammed into 2 hours, so it's not quite like a Comic-Con thing. But it's still cool to see though. Last time I went, which was 4 years ago now, Johnny Depp came out in his full Jack Sparrow outfit and fully in character, because that was right before the last one came out, the last not Harry Potter, the last Pirates came out. So that was a big surprise, and I know he loves doing this kind of stuff, so maybe he'll just show up just to show up. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so that was our morning, early afternoon adventure for the day. But the real topic we want to talk about today was not so much a review, but more of a discussion about Quentin Tarantino's newest movie. Came out about a week or two ago, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's not really a review, although we'll kind of go over that just a little bit, since the review's are already out there. You can go to Rotten Tomatoes, and they've been out there for a few weeks. We just want to talk about it a little bit, and the main reason I wanted to talk about it was I was telling Brian a little earlier that this movie to me feels like the most non-Tarantino movie. And the reason why I came to that conclusion was I had to convince my dad to go see this movie. We were talking about it, and he's not a Tarantino guy. He's a little old school. He doesn't really care for cussing too much or violence, and that's just the way he is and stuff. So I get it, and obviously that's all Tarantino movies, right, Brian? That's every single one.
Well, so what I enjoy about his movies is that there's always these long drawn out scenes, and some of them are just full of pressure. Like you don't know what's going to happen. Like really tense moments, and I mean, we'll get into it more, but yeah, that's one of his signature things. Other than the some of the comedy and the violence that are usually in his films.
Yeah, his movies they're not movies that they're easy to watch. You don't just throw them on in the background as you're doing something,
Right.
right? You can't do that. They're super dense. Like I said, there's parts that are very tense and anxious, and it's hard to watch some uh, Django. Django has a lot of that, especially was dealing with something like slavery and stuff. Like that's a hard movie to watch. That's not one you just throw on. You know,
Yeah.
like oh, I have an hour to kill. Let me throw on Django. Um, so I was explaining so I was telling my dad, I was like, I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, you might like this movie, and I kind of had to go through it and talk to him about it, and I was able to change his mind, and I think the biggest takeaway from that is that this movie, especially for Tarantino, is very subtle in its world building and its storytelling, the way it builds to the climax. Everything is very subtle. He drops hints about the story as you go in little pieces, and it's up to you to pick up on it, and then it all comes together at the end. Um, but really, the movie it and another good thing is we're probably gonna spoil some stuff for you guys, but the best part is that I went to this movie not knowing anything. Like the trailers didn't show anything about the story. I just know the very basics of it was we were going to follow Leonardo DiCaprio's character Brett Dalton, um, and his stunt double Brad Pitt, who plays Cliff Booth, his stunt double. And really, you're just kind of following their life, right? That's
Yeah.
and but then you also knew that in the backdrop of all this was the Manson murders. Now, I had no idea how they were going to tie it together. No clue, nothing. So we kind of came into it, and that was a brilliant part of the marketing department for this movie is they didn't explain anything. It was just here's Leo, here's Brad, here's Sharon Tate, you know, and you see the Manson stuff, and you're like, what is it going to be? So really, it's you're following these two guys and just going through their daily life, and as they're going through their life you see little bits of the Manson stuff. You see the Manson family, they're digging in the trash, right? They're living on a compound. You see them hitchhiking. There's a scene where Charles Manson himself walks up to the Polanski house, asking for the previous tenant because that was his intended victim, and then he leaves. And the only tie-in to Leo and Brad is that Leo's character lives next door to Roman Polanski, right? That's pretty much
Right.
it.
Yep.
They don't interact. He just like there's one scene where he's telling Brad Pitt, right? Oh man, Polanski lives right next door, man. I gotta talk to that guy. He's a superstar. Um, so really, that's the basis of the movie. And then just as the movie goes on, uh, it still doesn't really tie together too much, right?
No, it doesn't. I mean,
Yeah.
all three pieces, they're all very disjointed, right? Like
Yes. Yes.
it seems like they could be three different stories on its own, and then it's only in the last half hour or so where they're all tied together.
Right. Right. You have Brad Pitt and Leo's story. You have Polanski and Sharon Tate's story, and then you have the Manson story going on. Not a whole lot across. So it was like I said, it was very subtle in that you're kind of picking it up as you go, and Tarantino just leaving just little nuggets uh, as the story goes on, and one of uh, the main parts that we talked about a lot because there's been a lot of controversy over this too was the depiction of Brad Pitt's character, Cliff Booth. Um, as the story is going on, you find out that, and he doesn't even explicitly show this. It's just little things like they have a line where Leo says that he's a war hero. So it's like, okay,
Right.
he's a veteran, okay. Um, and around this time, this was in the 50s, so it's kind of like Korean War.
Yeah.
Like,
It's assumed it's a Korean War.
sure,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. And then there's a scene where he has a shirt off and you can see scars.
Right.
Okay, he's been through some stuff
Well, it could be from his doing his stunt work too.
or
I mean,
stuff
that
work
was
too.
what
Yeah,
I was thinking, but it
yeah,
could be from the war too. I didn't think of
right.
that.
That's how I kind of picked up. But yeah, also he's a stuntman, and so you're okay. This guy's a tough guy, and you pointed out the scene where he needs to get on the roof to fix the satellite dish or the antenna, right? For the TV.
Antenna.
and he does it like he does like a real parkour. He hops up there like in 2 or 3 jumps, like super easy. So it's like, okay, this guy's got skills. Like he's an athlete. Um, and then there's also a scene. So this is the scene with the controversy where he fights Bruce Lee and he's like winning, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, this builds up that he's a tough guy. And at the end, and also another scene that I put together too, or that I thought of was when he's on the compound with the Manson family, and it's him and like how many people? 30, 40 people.
Yeah, and
And
he just walked in to see
yeah,
his friend, right?
yeah, his friend is there and he's very suspicious of what's going on. They're telling him that oh he's he's cool with that with the whole Manson family living on this plot, basically just mooching off him. He's cool with it, and he just like, well, I want to go talk to him. And there's like 30 or 40 kids there, and he's not scared at all. He walks in there, make sure everything's okay. He's standing up to all these kids, beats the shit out of one guy who popped the tire, his on his car,
Yeah.
beats the crap out of him and leaves, and he just leaves, and you're like, wow, this guy's legit. And then that all ties into the final act. Um, and it's just stuff like that where it's a little scene here, it's a little scene there, it's a little scene here, and then boom, it comes together at the end. Um, and same thing with the Manson family in the background. You see them making their way to Hollywood, and you may see them kind of up to something. You see, Manson go to the house, and something's gonna happen. You're like, oh man, what's gonna happen? What? That was part for me. That was a anxious part for me was that you knew what was going to happen. You knew the Manson family were there. You knew the murders were going to happen. When were they going to happen and how? And just the way he built that up for the 2.5, almost 3 hours of the movie and brought it together at the end, I thought was great. Because once the ending hit, everything came together. It got super over the top, like Tarantino's movies are. And I was like, okay, and then the movie ends. It was funny. It was great. It worked. And boom, ended the movie off. I thought that was a great ending. To be honest, I was like, wow, that's that's a Tarantino at his best. That ending, it was ridiculous. It was over the top and it was funny, but it completely worked. Um, and I guess we'll have to go into it, right, about what happened, so this all makes sense. So we're gonna have to go into spoiler warning, um, spoiler territory here. Basically, what happens is the Manson family go to the wrong house in this story. They go instead of going to the Polanski's house, they accidentally pull into Leo's house, and him and Brad Pitt are staying there. And Brad Pitt beats the crap out of all of them, and they save the day. Like it's totally crazy. The scene is insane, super violent. Um, Makes no sense in real life. Like what? Like this doesn't happen. There's a flamethrower gets involved, and it's great. It's super. It's great, and then it just works so well because of the way he set the movie up. I don't know, Brian. What'd you think?
Yeah, so going back, so just a few things to add to that. Like, um, they added there's some comedy in there when Brad Pitt decided to finally smoke that acid laced
Yeah,
cigarette, right?
yeah,
So he doesn't know, he couldn't tell if those guys are real or not when he finally gets back home. So that part was pretty funny. Um, yeah, and then the flamethrower, and then it just got super violent, turned to like it felt like almost like a zombie type movie, like when those girls were getting stabbed or getting beat up viciously, like as if
yeah,
trying to kill a zombie or something, which is pretty
yeah.
crazy.
They get messed up. They
Yeah,
get jacked up. He has Brad Pitt has his dog bite a guy's balls off, and
right.
but again, that's another thing that he did great is there was a scene in the beginning of the movie where Brad Pitt has his dog so well trained. Remember, he's feeding him.
Hmm.
He puts his food in the dog, and then the dog just has to sit there and not do. And then he doesn't eat until Brad gives him he gives him the okay. Then he goes to eat. So he's like, okay, he's a very well trained dog. So at the end, Brad's giving him these signals, and the dog is just wrecking everybody. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you know why you saw it earlier, and it's just I don't know, it's just great world building by Quentin this time. And and like I was saying, telling my dad too, I was like, there's really not a whole lot of violence or even cursing really until the very end of the movie, which is shocking because it's Tarantino. Um, but I think the best part of the movie is how they focused on Leo and Brad. And man, if you want to see top notch Oscar worthy acting, it's a masterclass in acting. Watch this movie. Leo and Brad are just incredible. They're incredible in this movie. There's a scene where Leo's playing, he's kind of playing a fading actor, right? He was a TV actor,
Yeah.
who he thought he was gonna be a movie star, left the TV show, and his movie career didn't really hit. So he's very self destructive. He hates that he left a successful show to be a movie star and it failed.
Yeah,
And so,
and Brad Pitt's character, like Cliff, he pretty much rides his coattails since he's a
yeah, yep.
stuntman.
He's a
So
stuntman. He's like his gopher, pretty much.
right. So
And
like his success is pretty much like it depends on Leo's character, like Rick's success, right? So
yeah, yeah. So you can see that that weighs on Leo because like Brad's his best friend, and he because Leo was doing so well, he was doing well, and now that Leo's not doing well, he's not doing well. So you see it weighs on him. But there's a scene where Leo he gets cast as a villain in a TV show, like a guest starring uh, role, and Leo is playing an actor acting in a show, and they film the scene like Leo's doing the scene, like just like a regular show, like a regular movie, and then he messes up. Remember?
right.
He goes, "Oh my!" He goes, "Line, line." They give him the line, and he gets flustered, and he goes, "Fuck!" And he gets up and he walks away, and he goes, "Can we start over?" And they're like, "No, no." And you forget that you were watching a movie within a movie, and then they reset the camera. Okay, let's move the camera back. Okay, do the line, and Leo jump. Okay, he calms himself down, jumps back in the scene, and it's like, dude, that's an actor playing an actor playing a playing a
That
role.
was really cool how they
That
reset
was
the
crazy.
camera. Yeah, so the camera that the viewer is watching is the actual camera that's filming the episode. So you see it reset, so it goes back and then
Yeah,
they just reset and it goes again. So that's a really good insight in how they film movies. It's
yeah,
not,
and
not
then
as simple as we think it is, where
yeah, it was. Oh man, that was. And then you hear the director and okay, you know what? We'll start. Reset the camera. Start from here and go. And he goes right back in and finishes the scene out. And then afterwards, he goes back to his trailer and he's so pissed that he blew the scene, or he felt he blew the scene. Remember, he's destroying his
yeah.
trailer, and he throws his booze and stuff, and it was like, oh man, like this is just it was crazy.
Well,
Uh,
and he even threatened to like harm himself if
yeah,
he failed, if he screwed up again, right? So,
yeah,
but then he went out and he nailed it after he left the trailer. So,
yeah, yeah. He was like, yeah, he would say something like, if you drink again, I'll kill you. And he's looking at the mirror, and it's like, whoa, shit, well, this guy is crazy. And then yeah, and then he stops drinking. He makes him quit drinking, and then he kills it. He kills the scene and of the show, and almost feels like he's back and his career is back on track. Um, but I mean, a few years ago when he won the Oscar for The Revenant,
hmm
not Brad, Leo. Um, I don't want to say flack. There's a little bit of criticism in that it was more, what's the word, like that he won it for like it was like a lifetime achievement award. Like, should he have won it for Revenant? Half the movie he's laying around dead and stuff.
right.
Right? There's a lot of people joking, oh, Leo got an award for going for
Yeah,
2 hours.
he was
Well, if
pretty
you want
much
to see it,
yeah,
if
he
you
was
want
like
to
in a
see,
cocoon the whole movie for most.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But if you want to see the skills that Leo's got, you watch this movie, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, he deserves everything, every award, every he deserves it. He's that good in this movie. And Brad Pitt too. Brad Pitt is great. He's freaking great. He kind of plays like a guy who's just kind of like, right? His
Right.
character's like, oh, whatever. It's all good. Everything's good.
I really like that part where there was a flashback within during the movie on why he can't get any more stunt roles, and it's because of that rumor that he
He
killed
killed
his
his wife.
wife.
Yeah, he killed his
And
wife.
the funny thing is, like, they never, on camera, they never confirm whether
They
he
don't.
did it or not.
Yeah, they don't. They don't.
And
They kind of set it up like it might have been an accident.
yeah, but she kept nagging him, so I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
you're like, maybe it wasn't. Yeah.
yeah, so in the theater, when it flashed back to when he's back on the roof again, like the audience that I was watching it, and they all started laughing because
Yeah.
that was pretty funny, like how they
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah. It looked like he was gonna kill her, and then he doesn't.
Right.
And he just kind of says something like, fair enough. Like, okay. So it was really funny the way he did, but they don't confirm if he killed his wife or not.
Right.
And then so now the staff, the crew, like the stunt crew, they're like, I don't know, should we hire this guy? Like Leo's like, hey man, you gotta hire Cliff. He's with me, and they're like, I don't know. Didn't he kill his wife? And it's a lot of like it's bad publicity, bad PR if we hire this guy. So, but his character just kind of seems to roll with the punches, huh? He's like,
Yeah.
okay, hey, what else do you need from me to do, Leo? And Leo's like, oh, can you fix the antenna on my house? Sure, no problem. Fixes it. And then he lives in a trailer behind a drive-in movie theater, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny with his dog. And then even towards the end of the movie, Leo goes to he starts filming spaghetti westerns in Italy for like what was it, like a year or two?
Yeah, it was like 6 months for like three movies.
Yeah, and he made good money. He met his wife out there, and he comes back, and then he tells Brad that or Cliff, he tells Cliff, hey, I really can't have you around as my assistant. I have a wife to take care of now. I can't really afford it. And he just goes, okay, all right, I'll figure something out. Like, doesn't phase him.
Yep.
And
They
they
just
just go,
like so when they get back, they just go out for drinks and
yeah, they go get
just
hammered.
hang out. Yeah, they just hang out for one more night before they move on, separate from their lives, and then it leads into that whole murder scene. So
Yeah, the Manson family rolls up. They roll in the house, and Brad had he had a cigarette laced with acid. He had it for like the whole movie, right?
yeah.
He finally goes, all right, tonight's the night. So he's tripping balls, and then these people break in to try to kill him, and he just kicks the shit out of him. And Leo, the whole time he's in his pool, listening to music, right? He's just chilling,
Right.
and he has no idea what's going on. Brad's inside killing these guys, and uh, one of the girls, I think Brad breaks her nose. He throws the can of dog food in her nose, breaks her nose, and she runs outside in the back, screaming, just in hysterics. Falls into the pool, and that's when Leo goes, "Oh shit!" He gets up and he runs into his shed, comes out with a flamethrower from an old World War II movie he made,
Yeah.
and it just cooks her with it. That was great. And then yeah, and just like the ambulance comes, and then him and Cliff, and he's like, Cliff, you saved my life, you saved my life. So it's almost like he was gonna keep him around somewhere.
Hmm.
Like, I'll be there tomorrow, man. But then Polanski, well, he wasn't there, right? That's what really happened. Polanski wasn't there. He was in Europe filming. So it was Sharon Tate and their friend were there, and his friend comes down and asks Leo what happens, and Leo tells him, and his friend is super impressed. And then Sharon Tate is like, hey, why don't you come up and hang out? So Rick Dalton meets Sharon Tate, and you assume it's like a happy ending, right? Like,
Right.
oh, like maybe his career is gonna. She's like, you should really meet my husband, Roman Polanski. I think he'd really like you. And he's like, well, okay. And the movie kind of ends right there. Like, hey, it's a happy ending from a Tarantino movie. That doesn't happen. So just the whole movie it's not what you expect at all. Like, it is. The story is great. It's you don't know what's going on. Everything's so, like you said, it's like three different stories in one that comes together at the end. It's very non-Tarantino in that way. Now, of course, there is ways that it is Tarantino. It's very non-linear, right? His movies are very non-linear. There's a lot
Hmm.
of flashbacks that just appear out of nowhere. It can get confusing sometimes. Um, like when they showed the scene with Brad Pitt and his wife, right? That just kind of popped
Yeah.
up.
Right.
And then the scene with Bruce Lee when he fights Bruce Lee,
Right. That was a flashback within the flashback.
Yeah, yeah.
The one with his wife was yeah, that was like
Yeah.
two flashbacks.
It's like and you get kind of confused, but that's how Tarantino does it. His movies just flashback like that. Uh, really heavy dialogue, which is what he's known for. The super long shots, like you were talking about. Like when Leo was shooting that movie within the movie, it was just one really long take. And I think that's what really gets you. It makes you forget that you're watching a movie within a movie because it's just one really long take with no cuts, and then all of a sudden Leo breaks character. All right, I need to redo this, and then they reset the camera, and then you're like, oh, and it kind of snaps you back, like, oh shit,
Right.
that's right, I'm not watching this movie. Um, and then of course the over the top at the end. So yeah, of course it's Tarantino, but this was one that I would recommend for people who don't normally watch his movies because they don't like Tarantino. If they're, my dad is like, I don't really like that guy. I don't like his movies. It's too, then we'll give this one a shot. Just sit and watch this one, and maybe you'll enjoy it. And it turns out he did. He went with my stepmom. They went to go check it out, and he called me up and was like, Hey, you're right. That movie was super funny. But it is. It's a super funny movie. Uh, very, very. I don't want to say. I don't know what the word is for not over the top. But it was not what he expected. He expected a Tarantino movie that was just insane, just like Hateful Eight and Django and Glorious Bastards, and it wasn't. It was totally not like that. He enjoyed it. My stepmom enjoyed it, and he was surprised. He was totally surprised. He thought he was gonna hate the movie, even though I had talked to him about it. He still was like, "Nah, it's Aaron. I don't like this guy. I just don't like him." But he gave it a shot and he liked it. So, um, my recommendations for anyone out there who is on the fence about seeing this movie because of Tarantino's reputation, give it a shot. Pretty sure you're gonna like it, especially if you're a fan of Brad Pitt and Leo DiCaprio. Like I don't know how you can't like this movie if you're fans of them.
What do you think about the like historical inaccuracies like with the ending, like, where all the Manson gang, like, they get killed in that scene? Because in reality, they do go into their like, they go in and they kill Sharon Tate, right? Like, she's murdered there. Like, that was the
Yeah,
night, like, where they're killed. And he's done this with Inglorious Bastards too,
yeah,
when
yeah, yeah. When
when
they
he
killed
killed
Hitler.
Hitler.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great. I thought it worked because it's coming. The whole movie. Oh, here they come. They're gonna kill Sharon Tate. They're gonna, maybe they're just gonna witness it. I don't know, but you knew it, and then bam, no, it doesn't. They go to the wrong house. Brad Pitt kills them all, and I thought it helped with the ending. Like it was a shocker, right?
Right.
Like, whoa, that's not what I. After the movie, I was like, that was not what I expected, and I thought it made it better. And it's like Tarantino said after, he's like, look, Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth are fictional characters. They're not real. This is a fictional movie.
Right.
So in this fictional world, they prevent the Manson murders. So I'm cool with that. That's cool. That's awesome. Same thing with Bastards, right? He made up that group. He made up all those characters,
Yeah.
and he's like, I can do whatever I want because they're fake characters. They're not real. Now, if they had used real actors and stuff, yeah, then you've been like, if it was like Clint Eastwood, or actually, a better example, Burt Reynolds. That's who they based Rick Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
Burt Reynolds and his stunt double. I forget his name. That's who he based them on. So let's say if it was like Burt Reynolds, like there's really like they actually used Burt Reynolds and he stops the Manson murders, then it would come off as like, wait a minute, that didn't happen,
Yeah.
right? You don't buy it because you're like, Burt Reynolds didn't stop the Manson murders, and even if you did do that now, like his family and stuff would be like, hey, what the hell, um, Burt Reynolds had nothing to do with it. But since you're using fictional characters, it's okay. Like I thought it was totally cool, it was insane, and it made a hard left, and it made me enjoy the ending that much more, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, I think it ties the ending very well. I mean, I just think it's kind of weird, but again, you're right. Like, they're fictional characters, so the movie itself is fictional,
Right,
just
right.
based on, borrowing from real life events. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's exactly it. He borrowed from real life events to come up with this story. Uh, It's almost like when the movie 300 came out.
Yep.
A lot of that too. Hey, that battle didn't happen. This didn't happen. Well, no, it's a fictional story that he made a comic out of. That's not historically accurate at all, and people didn't seem to not a whole lot of people. There's a small fraction that saw the movie didn't realize that, and they were like, "This isn't accurate at all." This, blah blah blah, history buffs and stuff. And it's like, yeah, no, it's just a story. Like he borrowed from real life events and made this story. He made a comic book out of it, and they made a movie out of it. You have to be able to kind of, you know, realize certain things, and you got to let it go for the movie, for the story to work.
Right.
Some funny, we were talking about, I mentioned this earlier about some controversy, and you read up more on it than I did, but there's some controversy going on with that Bruce Lee thing, right?
Yeah. So I didn't read into what his wife said, but I there was just today an article about Kareem. He's saying like the Tarantino disrespected his friend, because he was close friends with Bruce Lee since they filmed a movie together back in the day. Um, just the fact that that's not how he is, and the way he was portrayed, where he's saying he could beat up anyone and all that stuff. That's not who he is. And then also to make him look bad by getting thrown into the car, which
Yeah.
was funny, but yeah, that was a little bit too much also. So I know it's to build up the story for Cliff. I
Yeah,
mean, I
fact.
completely understand it, but it's on Bruce Lee's expense pretty much. So
Yeah.
I guess that's what people are having problems with.
Yeah, yeah, and I didn't see that initially. I thought it was funny. I thought the scene was funny. Um, where like he's like, "What are you doing?" When the boss comes down, he goes, "Oh, he was beating up Bruce Lee," and Bruce goes, "Just for the record, no one was beating up Bruce." Like, it was funny. I thought it was funny. Uh, and they didn't really like it was one like they ended like on a draw, right? It was
Right.
tied 1-1.
Yeah, because they got stopped, right? So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could
So,
see.
no one really won, no one really lost, and it makes Cliff Booth come off like, okay, this guy can fight because you show him he has skills.
Right.
Um, that's what works. But coming from Bruce's family and stuff, I can see, yeah, he kind of came off as, the main thing is that he comes off as real arrogant. And
Yeah.
Tarantino says he did a lot of research, and in his research, he found that Bruce was an arrogant guy. And then his family and his friends are saying no, he wasn't. So it's like, okay, someone's, who's wrong here? I don't know. Um, you can say like, oh, Tarantino is just saying that, for his story, and then some people were saying that Bruce's family, they see him in, through rose-colored glasses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no, he never did. He can do no wrong. He's Bruce. He's my grandfather. He's my whatever. Um, so you're like, okay, is there an in between? Did Quentin exaggerate? Yeah, probably. Are his friends and family like Kareem? Are they saying that Bruce was just like the saint? You couldn't do no wrong. Well, maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was a little cocky. Don't really know. You don't know. Um, it's just there's just some unintended consequences. I don't think Quentin thought that was gonna be a
Right.
problem.
Yeah. So one thing I didn't understand though, like that line when Bruce Lee or someone asked him like, would you ever fight Clash's Clay? And he's like, well, it would never happen. Like I didn't understand what that meant. Like why would they never fight? Is it just because of style or what?
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking just because you would never box him in
Okay.
the ring. That's probably why. Like they probably didn't. That's probably what he was referring to. Like he would never street fight Cassius Clay, or they would never fight in the ring because Cassius Clay was a professional boxer who wouldn't street fight. The only way to fight him would be in the ring, and Bruce would never do that.
So it's kind of like a boxer versus MMA type thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's just like, and then also Bruce's was like 100 pounds lighter, so
Right.
there's no way they would let that fight go through. It would have to be some like exhibition, type thing, amateur type thing. Um, but yeah, it ended up being a fun. I thought it was a funny scene. But yeah, you're right. You said it. You put it right that it comes at Bruce Lee's expense. He kind of looks bad in that scene. Um, but yeah, if you want to, I'm sure you guys have all seen the reviews. If you want to give it, look at Rotten Tomatoes. But Brian, if you want to give it a grade or anything, what would you give it?
So when I first watched it, I think I had the same reaction you did. Like when the credits rolled, I thought this movie's okay. It's not the best of the Tarantino movies. But then over that weekend I spent more time thinking about it, and in my head the movie just got better and better. Like the
Yeah.
more I thought about the scenes and everything. I still wouldn't put it above Glory Inglorious Bastards because I think that's so for me that's my favorite
Uh-huh.
Tarantino movie. Um but like if I were to give it a score out of 10, I would give it like an 8. And that doesn't mean it's bad at all. It's really good. It's just like not at the level where I would put above his other movies.
Yeah, I had the same reaction after I saw it. I thought, the ending, I was like, what the hell did I just see? That was crazy. And I was like, yeah, that was cool. That was cool. And we were joking how at one of the film festivals, he got like what, a 10-minute standing ovation
Yeah,
or
like a
something.
7 minute. It was like at
Yeah.
Cannes, the film festival.
Right, right. And I was like, okay, you guys need to calm down. You're on this guy's jock a little too much. Like, it's not that good. But yeah, when I actually started thinking about it and going over it in my head, I was like, you know what? I think I sold it a little short. And then as I started thinking about it, same thing, it got better. So I would same thing. I would give it an 8.5, which is really, really good. Same thing. Personally, I like Bastards better. I really like Bastards. Hateful Eight. I don't know if I'd put above Hateful Eight. Um, but it's still one of. I mean, to me personally, Tarantino only has two bad ones. Death Proof and Jackie Brown. Those two are just they're not they're just his weakest efforts, I think.
Yeah.
And all his other ones are like just really, really good. So yeah, I would give it an 8 or 8.5 out of 10. It's right up there with some of his other ones, like Kill Bill, um, The Reservoir Dogs. I still Pulp Fiction for me is probably still his best one,
Hmm.
but Bastards is I would say better, and probably Hateful Eight I say would be better. This one I would put with like Django and Kill Bill and stuff, but it's I mean 8 out of 10 is really good.
Yeah.
That's a good movie, and none of his movies other than those two that I said earlier they're all good. They're all good. So it's hard to it's up to your taste, pretty much. Um, for example, like my sister loves Kill Bill. That's her favorite. Which is fine. All right, cool. I'm not going to argue against that. Um, but for the movie's been out for a couple weeks. I'm sure people have seen the reviews. They've made up their minds already. But just to throw in our little 2 cents, that's our grades for the movie. Um, and
Yeah, I just want to throw in like just some random thoughts really quick. Like when I was watching the movie, I noticed like two things that appeared twice, and I just thought it was a bit weird. Um, so one of them was like when they were showing those hippie girls, they were walking like barefoot. They're wearing slippers, right? And then
mhm,
when Cliff picks up that girl and like she just sticks her foot up into the glass and her feet's dirty. So like that, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like, because she's wearing slippers and she's like hitchhiking all day.
yeah,
And then later on in the movie, they show like Sharon Tate like going into a movie to watch her own movie, and she just kicks back and takes off her boots, and then her foot is dirty too. So I was wondering what the meaning behind that was. So my guess is I don't know if this is right or not, but it might be that Tarantino's hinting that she might have been one of them. But I mean, there's no way to confirm that, right? But that's just what I think. Why he filmed it that way, or maybe he just wants to show that they just like their feet are just dirty back then in the 60s. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. They put their feet right by the camera, right? It's like
Yeah,
right there. It's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty from my. Yeah, when you mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, he did. He kind of put their feet right in the camera. I don't know. I don't know why. If it was, I don't know why, but yeah, it was. They're like, there's like, bam, there's these dirty ass feet in your face.
right. And then the other one is like when like Sharon Tate's like asleep after the Playboy Mansion party, like for some reason the camera just showed her sleeping, and then she just like lightly snoring. And then at the end of the movie, when Leo and his wife are flying back from Italy, like it showed how stressed he is because like he's flying back with a wife now and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
And they pan to his wife who's asleep on a plane and she's snoring too. So I don't know what the message is behind that. Like I don't know if it's from his personal experience or what, but I don't know. I just thought that was a little bit. I don't know. Just those like nuggets are pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah. I thought they were funny. You see maybe because they have these really pretty girls and they're just
Yeah,
snoring like you're like what that doesn't come together. But I mean it helped for the story. It made everything funny. It kept the mood
right.
light when it kept the mood light to when it got real dark at the end.
Yeah.
And now I would say I'm anxious to look forward to his next movie, but I don't know what his next movie is going to be. Um, there's a lot of rumors that he's going to do the next Star Trek movie. I don't know if you've seen the reports on that.
Yeah, I've heard something about it, but I don't know too much about it though, like whether or not it's going to happen or not.
Yeah,
So yeah, so speaking of that, I noticed that he's under Sony now for distribution, so um maybe that might make things easier for him to work with like a studio behind Star Trek maybe.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Everything seemed to be going smooth so far. It's just the next Star Trek movie, in the Chris Pine universe, set of movies is pretty much dead. It's pretty much dead on the vine right now. It's not going forward. It kind of just fell apart. And I don't know if it was just if they asked him to write a script for it or he volunteered, but he wrote a script for a Star Trek movie. And with that other movie kind of being dead, the studio is kind of like, well, let's take a look at it. Let's see if this is something that can happen. And obviously they have to look at it. It's gonna be it's Tarantino. It's rated R. It's gonna be like his other movies, but he's a huge, huge Star Trek fan. And he wrote. I'm sure he probably. I mean, it's gonna be rated R. He said it's gonna be rated R, but I'm sure it's not gonna be like his other movies in tone, right?
Right.
He just can't. Um, but he wrote a script that was very respectful of the canon. It was everything. It was a legit script. He didn't screw around, and it's apparently it's really good. And if that other movie, which never, if it just never happens, and I don't think it is, it looks like everyone else kind of left already doing their own thing. Chris Pine just did a couple movies on Netflix. Zachary Quinto is he's on the show Nosferatu as the main villain. Zoe Saldana is Gamora. Um, Simon Pegg's in everything. Carl Urban is on the show The Boys. Like everyone moved on, it seems like, and there's no reason for them to like. I don't think any of those actors are like, "Hey man, when's the next Star Trek movie?" They're busy. They're all busy. They're all doing stuff, and it just seems like that movie's just not going to go anywhere. So it's possible that the studio could just say, "Hey, Quentin, for your 10th and final movie, let's do a Star Trek movie." And I'm not a huge Star Trek fan. I do like these new ones with Chris Pine. I do like those ones, but I'd be excited to see a Tarantino Star Trek movie. I want to see what he can do full on sci-fi. He's never really done that. But I would be down.
Yeah, I'm not a Star Trek fan either, but like you, I did enjoy those the rebooted ones. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he does make this movie.
And it's like it probably won't know for a while. I mean, Hollywood just came out, and he's still promoting it and still doing that stuff. So it's going to be a long time before we find out anything. But um, yeah, if you want to see the most non-Tarantino movie, check out Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and pretty sure you're going to enjoy it. So that's my recommendation on things. Anything else you want to throw in, Brian?
Nope, that's it. We think we've covered everything.
All right. Well, we'll be back pretty soon. Hopefully we have something before D23. That's still a week away. But we want to get Patrick back on here. He's gonna join us pretty soon, and we'll talk about something. I wish you could have seen this movie. Being an actor himself, I'm sure he would have had some more insights. But he wasn't able to get to it just yet. So we'll have something coming up next, and for sure we'll recap D23. We're only going on Saturday, so but I'm sure we're gonna see a bunch of cool stuff, and we'll let you guys know what we see. But that's it for me. I'll talk to you guys later. Brian,
All right. See ya.
later.